A 7-year-old little girl waits nervously in the schoolyard for her kindergarten graduation ceremony, desperate because she had promised her classmates that her dad would arrive at any moment. When she sees an elegant man about to step into a luxury car, she rushes over, clasps her hands in a plea, and begs, "Sir, could you be my dad at my graduation?" All the fathers came except mine, please. The man freezes with one foot inside the car, the door half open, the London sun shining on his watch. His driver looks up, confused. Children laugh in the distance. The girl's eyes are wet, her cap slipping sideways. The man's face softens for a second, then hardens again like a door closing, until the girl pulls a small paper star from her pocket and says, "I told my class my dad would clap for me." The star trembles in her fingers. He looks at her, then at the school gate, and then the bell rings. What he does next will change the day for everyone. Before we dive in, tap subscribe to support our growth, hit like so more people see this, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Her name was Molly Carter. She wore a bright yellow cap too big for her head and shiny black shoes that pinched her toes. She had practiced her walk all week in the courtyard of their small flat in Islington, marching between chalk lines until the neighbors clapped. "My dad will be there," she had told her friends, her chin up and her smile wide. She wanted to believe it. She needed to believe it. Molly was 7, small and brave, with questions always running in her mind like little birds. She had one wish today, to hear a deep voice call out, "That's my girl," when she stepped on stage. Her mother, Rachel, had promised to leave work early. Rachel cleaned rooms at a hotel near King's Cross, moving fast with a handcart and a tired back. She was 28, careful with money, careful with words, careful with hope. Rachel had ironed Molly's white blouse late into the night and stitched a button back on the tiny vest, humming so softly Molly could barely hear it. "We will be there," Rachel had said. "If your father does not come, I will clap twice as loud." But morning came with a new shift, a broken lift at the hotel, and a message. "Please, I may be late. Keep your cap on, okay?" Molly nodded at the phone screen, but her throat felt tight. She had told her class all the fathers were coming. She had promised. Across the curb, the man with the luxury car was named Alistair Drake. He owned tall buildings that reached for the sky like silver trees. He was 39, always pressed, always on time, the kind of man who walked through a lobby and made the air change. He did not have children. That story in his life had ended before it began, and he did not like to open that door. He had come to the school for a short stop, 10 minutes, no more, to look at a classroom his foundation had painted, and to approve a small scholarship for books. It was supposed to be quick. His driver, Mr. Bennett, already had the door open. The plan was simple: in, smile, sign, out. But plans can change when a small hand tugs at your sleeve. "Sir," Molly whispered, standing on tiptoe so he could hear, "can you be my dad for the graduation? Only for the walk, only for the pictures." Please. Alistair stared at her. He looked around for a parent, a teacher, anyone, but the teachers were busy arranging kids by height, and the parents were holding balloons and phones, waving and calling out names. You could smell popcorn and fresh paint. Alistair felt a sharp pull in his chest, the kind that comes before memories you don't want. He cleared his throat. "Where is your mother?" "She's coming," Molly said. "But the fathers go first. They do the dad walk. I told my friends my dad would be there. I even made this." She held up the paper star again. It had blue glitter on the edges and one word in the middle. Believe. Mr. Bennett lowered his sunglasses. "Sir?" Alistair should have said, "I'm sorry." He should have stepped into the car and driven away to his next meeting. He was good at leaving doors closed, but he saw himself in the reflection of the car window, a man with a careful life, standing beside a child with a shaking star. He shut the car door instead. "What is your name?" he asked. Molly. Molly, I am Alistair. I can walk you to the gate so you can find your teacher. But I cannot. They will laugh, Molly said. They will say I lied. The bell rang again, a short sound that made everyone move. Alistair had to decide. He looked at the stage being set up with a bright banner that read, Sunrise Primary. We are proud. He looked down at Molly's shoes. He remembered a little box he had once kept in a drawer, empty and quiet. He put a hand to his tie as if loosening something inside his chest. Let's talk to your teacher, he said. They crossed the schoolyard together. Heads turned. A few parents stared. A boy whispered, Whose dad is that? He looks like a movie star. Molly stood taller. Alistair felt eyes on his shoulders like weight. He did not like being watched when he did not control the scene, but he kept walking. Near the steps, a woman with a lanyard and kind eyes noticed them. Molly, you're late to line up, my dear, she said. Who is this? This is Mr. Alistair, Molly said, speaking fast. He is going to be my dad for today. Only for the walk and the pictures. Please, Mrs. Whitfield. My mum is on her way. The teacher looked at Alistair with a careful face. Sir? I found her by the gate, Alistair said. She asked for help. I don't want to cause trouble. Perhaps we can call her mother to confirm. Molly held up her wrist. There was a small band with a number. This is my mum's phone. The teacher dialed. The call connected on speaker. Rachel's voice came through, breathless. Hello, Molly? Are you okay? Mummy, I found a helper, Molly said. His name is Mr. Alistair. He can stand in for the dad walk. Please say yes. There was a long second. Then Rachel said, Mr. Alistair, thank you. I am running from work. I will be there soon. If you can sit by her until I arrive, I will repay you. You owe me nothing, Alistair said. He surprised himself with how fast he said it. I will sit with her. We'll be careful. Thank you, Rachel whispered. Thank you. The line cut. The teacher nodded. All right. We will put you in the parent row, sir. Molly, cap straight, chin up. You practice this? Molly beamed and stood a little taller. The teacher lowered her voice to Alistair. We have a tradition called the dad walk. The fathers walk their kids under the banner and hand them a tiny book. It's very short. The children count on it. Alistair's jaw tightened. He nodded once. I understand. Mr. Bennet drifted to the side, still watching. Alistair handed him his phone and murmured, Push my next appointment by an hour. And bring the small navy tie from the glove box. You're going on a stage, sir? Mr. Bennet whispered, half smiling. Apparently. Alistair took the tie and loosened the collar of his crisp shirt. He knelt to Molly's eye level. You look very smart, he said. When you walk, look straight ahead. If you feel scared, squeeze my hand. Molly nodded. Will you clap for me? I will clap, Alistair said. The words felt strange and warm. Music started. The first row of children moved. The fathers walked beside them, proud and loud, clapping and cheering as they crossed under the banner. Alistair watched the rhythm and copied the steps in his mind. He could study anything. He could learn this too. Molly tugged his sleeve. Do you have a joke? She whispered. My friend's dad tells jokes. He says, Why did the chicken sit on the pencil? Because it wanted to draw attention. Everyone laughed a lot. Alistair searched his memory, empty and dusty for such things. Why did the book go to the doctor? He asked. Why? It had a bad spine. Molly giggled, covering her mouth. The sound surprised them both. That's a good one, she said. I will remember it. Their row moved. A hush fell as they stepped forward. Alistair's long steps slowed to match Molly's small ones. The bright banner hung above like a morning sky. As they reached the midpoint, Molly's hand squeezed his. Alistair clapped for her, not once but 3 times, slow and strong, and some people in the crowd clapped too, not knowing why. only feeling the pull of a small girl and a tall man walking like they had always belonged side by side. On the mother's side of the hall, Rachel slipped through the door, still in her hotel uniform, hair tied back with a brown scarf. She scanned the room, heart racing, afraid of what she would find. Her eyes landed on Molly's yellow cap, the small, proud shoulders, and the man beside her. Rachel knew that face. She had seen it on a billboard near the bus stop, on the cover of a magazine at the kiosk, in a news clip announcing a hospital wing. Alistair Drake. That Alistair. Rich, distant, always in dark suits. He was here, with her daughter. For a moment, Rachel could not breathe. She pressed a hand to her chest and moved down the wall like a shadow, not wanting to break the moment, not trusting it either. Life had taught her that good things sometimes came with a price, written in tiny letters. On stage, a teacher with a stack of tiny books smiled at Molly. "Well done," she whispered. "Hold your book and bow." Molly bowed. Alistair bowed too, a little, because she did. Their row finished, and they sat together in the parent seats. The air smelled like old wood and sugar. A balloon popped somewhere near the back, making Molly jump. Alistair placed the smallest edge of his hand on the chair between them, a silent sign of, "It's okay." During a quiet song, Molly leaned close. "Did you go to a school like this?" she asked. Alistair kept his eyes on the stage. "No," he said. "My school was different." He did not add that it felt colder there, that he had once avoided assembly because he did not like the songs. He did not add that he had stopped going to school events long ago because his calendar grew thick with meetings that paid for lights and marble floors, not songs and small hands. "Do you like children?" Molly asked next, in the open way children ask things. Alistair thought of the little box, the one that used to sit inside his bottom drawer, empty but heavy. He had thrown it away one winter morning after too much silence. "I like truth," he said softly. "Children tell the truth." Molly nodded like she understood. "My teacher says I say the truth too much. I tell people when their hair is messy." "That can be useful," Alistair said, and the corner of his mouth turned up. As the program went on, the room swung between loud and quiet, between drums and whispers, between cheers and the soft slide of chairs when parents stood for photos. Alistair kept his phone on silent, messages stacked up like bricks on the screen in Mr. Bennett's pocket. One message came from Alistair's office. "Site deal final today. Old school lot decision needed by 3 p.m. The words waited in the phone like a rain cloud, because here was a hidden string. The land next to this very school, a cracked lot with weeds and one bent signboard, was part of a new plan. Alistair's company wanted to buy it for a glass building with shops on the bottom and offices above. The plan would push against the school wall, and some voices had warned it might change traffic, noise, everything. Alistair had told himself the plan would bring jobs. He told himself it was only land. But now he was sitting under a paper banner in a room filled with small caps and paper stars. Choices felt different when you could hear the way a child's hand stuck to yours. The head teacher, Mr. Harrington, stepped to the microphone, smiling, adjusting his glasses. "We thank all parents and friends today," he said. "A special thanks to the Drake Foundation for the new books in our library." Heads turned toward Alistair. A few people clapped. Alistair did not stand. He did not like the light on him when his thoughts were still moving. He simply nodded, and Molly whispered, eyes wide, "That's your name." "Yes," Alistair said. "You bought our books?" "Some of them." "Then you already know us," Molly said, as if that solved everything. While the choir sang, Rachel slid into a seat at the end of the row, hands on her knees, chest still tight. She did not speak yet. She watched her child and the man beside her. This man from screens and tall buildings, leaning so Molly could whisper into his shoulder. Rachel swallowed hard. Was this kindness real? Would it end with a bill she could not pay? She hated that her first thought was fear. But fear had echoed through too many months to let go in a single hour. When the music stopped, the hall shifted into noise again. A teacher said, "Parents may come forward for photos." Molly looked at Alistair, hopeful. He nodded once. They stood. He straightened her cap. She fixed his tie. They both laughed. Mr. Bennet, who had found a seat by the aisle, lifted his phone and caught a photo without thinking. Later, he would not delete it. As they reached the stage for the pictures, the doors at the back of the hall banged open. A man stumbled in, breathing hard, looking left and right like he had lost something important. His shirt was wrinkled. His eyes were too bright. He scanned the children and found Molly. He pushed through rows with a kind of fast hunger. "Molly!" he shouted, voice cracking. People turned, teachers stiffened. Rachel's head snapped up. Her face went pale. Molly froze, her small fingers tightening on the paper star. The man reached the front row and pointed at her. "That's my child," he said, voice loud now, a shaky laugh on the end of his words. "That's my girl." Everything slowed. The teacher on stage held up a hand. "Sir, please." "I am her father," the man said. He took one more step, too close. "Who is this man with her?" He looked at Alistair, at the tie, at the way Molly stood so close to him. Something dark moved across his face. "You think you can take my place in front of everyone?" The hall breathed in. Rachel stood so fast her chair scraped. "Gareth," she said, voice low and flat, the kind of voice that holds a whole storm. "Stop." Gareth didn't stop. He pulled a crumpled envelope from his pocket and waved it like a flag. "I came for my daughter," he said, "and I came for what is mine." His eyes flicked to Alistair's watch and then to the banner with the word "Proud" in big letters. He smiled, a smile that did not reach his eyes. "You people in your suits, you think you can buy everything?" Alistair stepped slightly in front of Molly without thinking. He did not raise his voice. He did not take a step toward Gareth either. He knew the way a room could tilt if the tallest person moved wrong. He simply said, "This is a graduation. We are here for Molly." Gareth laughed again, a sound like a bottle knocked over. "Exactly," he said. "So let her walk with her father." He held up the envelope. "And after the walk, we will talk. Because I know who you are, Mr. Drake." I did my homework. Rachel reached the aisle, eyes on her daughter, on the man who had suddenly decided to show up, on the millionaire standing like a wall made of calm. "Molly, come to me," she said, steady, hand out. Molly's eyes jumped from her mother to Alistair, to the man with the envelope. Her cheeks shook. The paper star trembled so much a corner bent. Around them, phones lifted. Murmurs spread like ripples. The head teacher moved slowly toward the microphone again, his face careful. The choir teacher whispered, "Stay with your class, children." Even the balloons seemed to go quiet. Gareth took one more step. "Little girl," he said, soft now, putting on a smile that looked like a mask, "forget this stranger. Your father is here." His fingers reached out, too fast, too close. Molly flinched. Alistair's hand came down, firm but gentle, between Gareth and the child. The whole room held its breath. "Don't touch her," Rachel said, voice rising for the first time, breaking like the edge of a wave. Gareth's smile fell away. The envelope shook in his fist. He leaned in like a challenge, and the edge of the paper tore with a sharp sound. A piece floated down, landing near Alistair's shoe. On it was a name written in hard pen strokes. Alistair saw it for just 1 second before a teacher stepped between them and the mic squealed with feedback. In that second, the name on the torn scrap made Alistair's heartbeat stumble. It was his own. Alistair stared at the torn scrap on the floor and saw his name in dark pen across fake letterhead, Drake Foundation. The room hummed like a beehive. Gareth's hand still shook with the other half of the envelope. Molly pressed the paper star to her chest. Rachel stood in the aisle, eyes bright and afraid. The head teacher's microphone squealed, then went quiet. For a long heartbeat, no one moved. Alistair bent, picked up the scrap, and read the line that showed, "Community liaison fee, paid upon successful removal of school boundary." The words were ugly. The signature below was meant to be his. It was not. His jaw set. He looked up and met Gareth's eyes. "This is not mine," he said, calm but firm, "and you know it." Gareth's mouth twitched. "You would say that," he replied, trying to sound bold. "Men like you always hide behind smooth words." "We are not doing this in front of the children," the head teacher said, stepping between them now. His voice was steady. "We will move to my office. Miss Patel, please lead the choir in the next song. Parents, remain seated." He turned to Alistair and Rachel. "Please." He turned to Gareth last. "And you, no more shouting." Alistair leaned close to Molly. "Stay with Mrs. Whitfield," he said softly. "I will be back before the end." She nodded, but her hand clung to his sleeve for 1 second. He gave her a small smile and touched the edge of her cap. "Believe," he said, and then he followed the head teacher. They crossed the corridor to a small office that smelled of books and old carpet. A pot plant leaned toward the window. The head teacher closed the door and stood with his back to it, as if he were keeping the storm outside. Rachel took the chair by the wall, hands clenched in her lap. Gareth stayed standing, his breath fast. Alistair laid the torn scrap on the desk and pulled out his phone. "Mr. Bennett," he said quietly. "Ask legal to send me the last 5 months of official letters with my signature, and search for any report of forged letters in Islington involving the Foundation." Now Gareth laughed, but the sound was thinner here. "Call your lawyers," he sneered. "What matters is this. I am the father. I decide who walks with my child." Rachel looked up, tired and fierce. "You decide today?" she asked. "After months of silence? After promises you broke?" Her voice did not rise. It did not need to. It held weight. "You came late with a torn paper and a loud voice. That is not fatherhood." Gareth's eyes flicked away. He squeezed the rest of the envelope and spoke to the head teacher instead. "Sir, I have rights." "You have responsibilities first," the head teacher said. "We will keep the child safe." "That is our duty." He turned to Alistair. "Mr. Drake, this letter?" Alistair held the scrap up. "It is a poor copy of our letterhead," he said. "The language is wrong. We never pay liaison fees to private people. We speak with councils and schools, not men waving envelopes. Someone used my name to push fear." He looked at Gareth. "Who gave you this?" Gareth pressed his lips together. "A man from your office," he said. "Tall, blue tie. He promised money if I made noise. He said if I showed this at a school event, you would pay me to be quiet." "That is a lie," Alistair said. "No one from my team sent you." He felt something cold move through him. This was not only one man wanting attention. This was a trick built to hurt a school on the very day it should be happy. Rachel rubbed her palms on her skirt. "Sir," she said to the head teacher, "I can take Molly home after the photos. I do not want trouble. I only want peace. You will have it," the head teacher said. He nodded toward a chair. "Mr. Drake, please sit. Mr. Gareth, if you raise your voice in this office, I will ask you to leave and I will call the police. Do you understand?" Gareth shrugged, but he did not shout again. He sat on the edge of the window ledge like a boy pretending he did not care. Alistair's phone buzzed. He read the message. "Legal confirms," he said. "We sent no such letters. We have 3 reports of forged requests in the last month. Parents asked to donate cash to a fake library fund. We informed the council already. He looked at Gareth once more. You walked in here with a lie. And you used your daughter's day to wave it around. Gareth's mask slipped. A tired man showed under it. You think it is easy? He muttered. I lost my job on the site. The money is gone. People don't listen when you whisper. You have to shout. Rachel's voice broke, but only a little. You shout at the wrong times, she said. When Molly had a cough at midnight, where were you? When the shoes did not fit, where were you? Today you came with paper and noise. The head teacher exhaled. Here is what will happen, he said. Mr. Drake, you will return to the hall and sit in the parent row so the child feels safe. Miss Carter, he looked at Rachel, you join them. Mr. Gareth, you will sit at the back where staff can see you. If you approach the child, we will remove you. After the ceremony, we will talk calmly about the next steps. He opened the door and held it. This is a school. We set an example. Gareth looked ready to argue, then he sagged a little and nodded. Fine, he said. They returned to the hall. The choir was singing, You've Got a Friend in Me. Small voices, bright and brave. Molly's eyes found Alistair at once, and she lifted the paper star just a little, asking a question without words. Alistair gave one small nod. Her shoulders relaxed. He sat, Rachel on one side, Mrs. Whitfield on the other. Gareth took the back chair with a staff member 2 seats away. A hush fell as the final names were called. The head teacher stepped to the mic. Before we close, he said, I want to say something simple. Today is for the children. No child here should feel alone. If any child does not have a parent in the room, I ask that every grown-up here be that parent for 1 minute. Clap for every child, cheer for every child, because they are all ours. The hall answered with warm noise, hands ready. Alistair stood up. He had not planned to speak. He did not like surprises at a microphone, but he had also not planned to hold a small hand under a paper banner. Plans change. He took the mic, kept his voice low and steady, and looked at the children first. My name is Alistair Drake, he said. Some of you know my name from the books in your library. I want you to know something even more important. None of you has to ask a stranger to clap for you ever again. The room went very quiet. He continued, clear and simple. We were going to build offices on the old lot next door. I have decided not to do that. Today. Right now, he turned to the head teacher. If the council will agree, we will buy the land and give a long lease to Sunrise Primary for a playground and a music room. £1 a year, forever. Our lawyers can start this afternoon. He faced the families again. We will also start a Saturday club here, a place where volunteers come to read stories, fix bikes, and help with homework. We will call it the Star Club, because one brave girl carried a star today. For a second, the hall did not move. Then sound burst like sunshine through a cloud. Cheers, claps, even a few tears. Rachel covered her mouth. Mrs. Whitfield wiped her eyes. The head teacher put a hand to his heart and bowed his head. At the back, Gareth looked down at his shoes. Alistair wasn't finished. There is one more thing, he said, his voice softer now. If you are a father in this room and you have not been the father you should be, today is a good day to start. Not with big promises. Start with small things. Walk, clap, read a page, show up. He gave the mic back. He sat down and let the noise wash over him. He looked at Molly. She looked back, cheeks shining, eyes huge. You did that, she whispered. We did that, he answered. The photo line started again. Parents formed tidy rows. Children held tiny books and paper stars. When it was Molly's turn, Rachel stood on one side and Alistair on the other. Mrs. Whitfield took the picture on Rachel's phone. Molly grinned so wide her cheeks hurt. One silly one, Mrs. Whitfield said, and they all pulled faces. Alistair did not know how to pull a proper silly face, but he tried. Molly laughed, and that was enough. After the pictures, the hall emptied to the sunlight of the playground. Balloons bobbed, cupcakes disappeared. People came to Rachel to shake her hand, to say, "Well done," to pat Molly's shoulder. A boy from Molly's class shouted, "Nice joke, mister." Alistair, and ran away laughing. Mr. Bennet gave Alistair a look that was half proud, half, "Your calendar is finished." But he said nothing. Gareth walked up slowly. No shouting now, no fake smile. He looked older than he had inside. Rachel stepped closer to Molly and squared her shoulders. Alistair stood with them but did not take over. "I am sorry," Gareth said, voice rough. The words seemed to scrape his throat as they came. "I shouldn't have come in like that. I was angry at the wrong things." He looked at Molly. "I do love you," he said. "I am bad at it, but I do." Molly stared at the ground. She kicked a pebble. "You didn't come when I was sick," she said quietly. "Mum made soup." I counted. Gareth swallowed. "I know," he said. "I will try to be better. Proper better. Not just talk." Rachel's chin lifted. "If you want to see her," she said, steady, "we can talk to the school about safe times. You will not come without notice. You will not bring noise. You will not bring men who shout 'I won't,'" Gareth said. He turned to Alistair. "And you, thank you for not making me look smaller than I already did." Alistair nodded once. "There is a community center on Caledonian Road," he said. "They run a group for dads. Tuesday evenings, no cameras, real help. If you go for 8 weeks, I will arrange a work interview with a friend who runs a delivery firm. Clear contract, no cash in envelopes. You will start at the bottom, like everyone else." Gareth blinked. "Why would you do that for me?" "Because she will notice," Alistair said, tilting his head at Molly. "Children notice when men show up." Gareth looked at Molly one last time. "See you," he said softly. He backed away, then turned and left the playground, shoulders low but steps a little steadier. Rachel let out a breath she had been holding all day. She sank onto a bench. "I do not know how to thank you," she said to Alistair. A stranger came and stood like a wall. And then he moved the wall. "You owe me nothing," Alistair replied. He hesitated, then sat too, not too close. "May I tell you something?" he asked. "When I was younger, there was a room in my life that stayed empty. My work filled other rooms. It is easy to hide in work. Today, a 7-year-old did not let me hide." Rachel's eyes softened. "Then we helped each other," she said. Molly jumped onto the bench between them. "Can we have ice cream?" she asked, because she was 7 and the world had been heavy and light all in 1 hour. "Yes," Rachel said at once, laughing through the last of her tears. "2 scoops." "3," Molly said, holding up 3 fingers. Alistair looked at his watch, at the messages lined up behind the glass. Then he put the watch face down. "3," he agreed, "but only if you promise to tell me another joke." Molly grinned. "What do you call a bear with no teeth?" she asked. "I don't know," Alistair said. "A gummy bear," she said, and giggled so hard she almost fell off the bench. They walked out to the pavement together, Rachel with the school bag, Molly with the star, Alistair with his tie loosened and his driver trailing behind with a smile. The ice cream shop on the corner had a bell that rang when you pushed the door. They ordered 3 cones and sat by the window where the light made small squares on the table. Between licks, Molly spread the paper star on the table. "You said Star Club," she reminded him. "For Saturdays." "I did," Alistair said. "We will need helpers. Good ones." "I can help," Molly said. "I can read to the little ones, and paint the sign. I can clean after," Rachel added. "I am good at cleaning. I make places shine." Alistair nodded. "Then we will all help," he said. He took something from his pocket, a small silver pin shaped like a star. "This was meant for a speech at a boring dinner," he said, smiling. "I like this better." He pinned it gently to the edge of Molly's cap. "Now you have 2 stars." Molly touched both stars, the glitter paper and the silver pin. "I told my class my dad would clap for me," she said. And he did. Rachel's eyes flicked to Alistair. For a second, she looked as if she might say sorry for the way the words sounded. But Alistair shook his head. "Today, I clapped," he said. "And if you ever need a grown-up to clap again, call Mr. Bennett." He will find me. Mr. Bennett, who was sipping tea outside with a biscuit, looked up at the sound of his name and gave a little salute through the glass. Molly saluted back, very serious, then burst into another giggle. On the way back to the school to collect the certificate, Alistair's phone buzzed one more time. It was a message from his office. "Council open to playground lease. Call when free." He smiled. He would call later. Some things could wait. At the gate, the head teacher stood with the last parents, shaking hands, saying, "Well done." He looked at the star on Molly's cap and the easy way the 3 of them walked together. He smiled, deep and true. "See you on Saturday," he said. "See you," Molly replied, holding her mother's hand and looking up at Alistair. "Sir?" "Yes?" "Thank you for clapping." "You're welcome," he said. "That's my girl." The words were simple. They were not a promise of forever. But they were honest and full. The air felt lighter. The day felt bigger. And somewhere below the noise of London buses and the rustle of leaves on the school trees, a small new thing began, quiet as a breath, steady as a heartbeat. Subscribe to this channel to support our growth and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. If you'd like more stories like this, hit like and share. Your support helps us bring the next chapter to life.